Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another round of WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan Volleyball. My name is Charlie Brigham, alongside me, Nina Rhines, and we have a wonderful Big Ten matchup for you today. The Wolverines are facing off against the number 5 nationally ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. And we are just about set to go here, folks. Give you the quick starting lineup for Michigan. Out there on the court is Hannah Grant, Paige Jones, Scotty Johnson, Kendall Murray, Jess Merzick, and Kayla Baer. Michigan sporting the maize jerseys and blue shorts. Nebraska in the all black. The libero number 2, Kenzie Knuckles, sporting the red jersey. Looks like we are just about set to go here, folks. Paige Jones on the back service line. Again, we would like to thank you for tuning in to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan Volleyball. This is the last home game of the season before the Wolverines head off to Wisconsin to play the Badgers. First serve on the way from Jones. That one right to the back line, tipped at the net, but set right back up. Coming in now with a light tip over the net, and Kendall Murray keeps it just off the ground. Johnson now setting up Merzick. Merzick spike, sent right back at her. Stiveron and Sweet both right there to send that one back at the freshman. First point of the match is going to go to the Cornhuskers. Back at the service line is number 6, Kayla Akana. Akana with the right hand over the net, right to Jones. Scotty Johnson keeps it right up off the ground. Paige Jones hard to the net, but stuffed right back at her. Stiveron's right there again, right along with Kubik. Nebraska showing why they're the number 5 team in the country right now, out to an early 2-0 lead. Kayla Akana settles back in. Her serve on the way right to the back line. Jones fields it cleanly. Johnson now setting up Kendall Murray, starting for Mapertovsky, and she gets it down. Michigan's first point of the night. As mentioned, Kendall Murray starting in place of the injured Mapertovsky. Pertovsky is suited up. Heading to the service line now for the Wolverines is Kayla Baer. Her sent right to the back line. Meeting up at the top of the net is Jess Robinson. Now Jess Merzick coming in with the right hand, kept alive. Again, Robinson meets her at the net. Hames and Robinson both went up, and it's going to have a little bit of miscommunication between the referees. We're going to ask for the call on this one. It is going to go to the Cornhuskers. Both Mark and Lisa Rosen going over, questioning the referees as Lisa shares a few words with her players out there on the court. Again, still waiting on a final call. Coach Mark Rosen has the challenge marker out. Don't know if he's going to use it yet. And looks like he's going to, so we're going to go to an instant replay. This point would tie it up if it does go back in favor of the Wolverines. If not, Nebraska would hold a 2-point lead early in this first set. 3-1 is the score on the board right now. The original call was to the Cornhuskers, so there will need to be conclusive evidence that would suggest that it would be Wolverines' point. Both teams in their respective huddles as Paige Jones shares a few words with the line referee. Now walking over is Nicklin Hames for Nebraska. Hames has been battling that left leg injury all year. She's got the left thigh taped along with an ace bandage wrapping around both hips. Referees still deliberating. Looks like we are going to have a call here as they share their few final words. Both teams just locked in their huddles. Michigan desperate for every point here against a top-tier program like Nebraska. Every point counts, and it is going to go in favor of the Wolverines. Coach Mark Rosen makes the right choice, challenging that one, so we are tied up 2-2 here in Cliff Keen Arena as Kayla Baer heads back to the service line. Hames and Stiverons right up near the net for the Cornhuskers. Serve on the way. Bear serve kept up by Cuba. Can they keep it up? And no, they can't. Michigan out to their first lead of the match. Hames hustling across the court, diving out of bounds, but can't quite get there in time. So Michigan out to the lead here, 3-2 in this first one. The very few fans here, friends and family, are amped up about the change of momentum early on. Kayla Bear serve right to the back row to Sweet. Now over to the net. Paige Jones laying out for it. Kept up by Kayla Bear. Scotty Johnson runs, taps it over, and we're still alive. Hames setting up the back row right to Paige Jones. That one, Sun coming from way out of nowhere. And that's going to go in favor of the Cornhuskers. Kendall Murray couldn't keep it up off the ground. So we are tied 3-3 here. Heading to that back service line is going to be Kubik. Have a substitution for the Wolverines. Hannah Grant's going to check back in. Johnson setting up Merzick with a hard right hand, and she gets it to go. That one to the right hand of Kubik, too hot to handle. And Michigan back out to a lead here. Kendall Murray's going to head to the service line now. 4-3 is the score in favor of the Wolverines. Jess Robinson, Scotty Johnson, and Jess Merzick all near that front line. Murray serve on the way now. Spiraling down, kept off the ground by Knuckles. Now setting up and put right down. Great 1-2 punch from Haves, setting up Stiverons, and she got absolutely all of that one. Knuckles and Stiverons are going to head to the bench, have 2 substitutions for the Cornhuskers. Checking in and serving now is Haley Densberger. Densberger with 3 service aces on the year. This one right to Merzick. Johnson now setting up Paige Jones from the back row. A little bit of miscommunication, and what a tip. That one coming from Hames. Setting up like she was going to set up Sun coming from that back row and just launched it to that back right corner where it fell harmlessly to the floor. Power now shifts to the side of the Cornhuskers. Their lead 5-4. Serve gets over. Scotty Johnson meets her at the top of the net and stays alive. Merzick now coming with the right hand, right to the back row to Kubik. Kubik now coming up for her own, tipped and gets it to go. Jess Robinson met her at the top of the net, but Kubik just powered it home. The sophomore from West Des Moines, Iowa. Densberger to serve again. The lead now 2 for the Cornhuskers. This one to Merzick. Johnson setting up Merzick. Light tip over and gets it to go. Point Michigan. Great discipline by Jess Merzick there. She's been trying to hammer it home all day. The awareness just to lightly get that one over and fall harmlessly to the floor. She's going to head to the service line after that. We do have 2 more substitutions. Knuckles is going to check back in for Nebraska. Merzick serve right to the back row, kept up. Hames setting up Sun. Johnson now to Paige Jones right to the back row, kept up though by Kubik. Sun going to try it again. That one too far out, and that's going to be point Michigan. Lexi Sun getting absolutely everything she wants on this near side. That one just a little too strong as it sails towards the Michigan bench. And we're all tied up here in Cliff Keen Arena. 6-6 is the score as Jess Merzick heads to that service line. Her serve on the way to the back row. Kept up. Hames now. And put right back down. That's Caffey coming over to her right hand right in front of the scorer's table. Scotty Johnson and Jess Robinson were there but couldn't send it back. So Nebraska takes the lead once more. Nicklin Hames, the junior out of Maryville, Tennessee. She will serve now for Nebraska. Coach Mark Rosen again sharing some words with the referee. Not really sure what he is inquiring about right now. So we're going to have a quick word with Scotty Johnson as well. Things are cleared up. We're set to go. Nicklin Hames to serve. Taking her time, couple deep breaths and dribbles from way back. Her serve on the way now to Merzick. Johnson setting up Jess Robinson, coming hard with the right hand, and nobody could touch that one. We're tied back up. Jess Robinson got all of that one with the right hand. Knuckles laid out for it, but not enough. So we're tied back up at 7. She puts that one down. Jess Robinson's going to head to the bench, and Hannah Grant is going to check back in for her. Grant serve right to the back row. Kept up, Hames. Setting up her teammate on that back. Coming from way out is Sun. Now Paige Jones going back out in the attack, and that one's off the right hand of Knuckles. Michigan looking real strong here against this number 5 ranked team in the country. They hold the lead 8-7. Grant with the advantage is going to head back to the service line. Looking to extend the lead, and that one hits the front of the net and falls harmlessly down. So Nebraska gets a free one there. The score is going to go back to 8-8. And Lexi Sun is going to serve. Sun from the back left corner. This one all the way across to Kendall Murray. Scotty Johnson now setting up Merzick, who tips it over lightly and gets it to go again. Knuckles laid out for that one. Merzick showing great discipline. We saw her, as we said, was coming out really aggressive early, has honed it in, and relied less on her strength and more on her placement since then. 9-8 is the score for Scotty Johnson to serve. That one to the back left corner. Hames keeps it alive. Coming in with the left hand and kept right back up. Kayla Bear right there. Knuckles now setting up her teammate Kubik, and that one off the hand of Kendall Murray. That's going to be a point for Nebraska. This set has just been back and forth this entire time. Caffey's going to check out for the Cornhuskers. Checking back in is Stiverans. And the libero, Knuckles, set to serve from that far back left corner. Right to Hannah Grant. Johnson now setting up Kendall Murray, coming out of nowhere and stuffed right back at her. Stiverans is right there alongside Jez Sweet. The seniors just forming a wall up at the top of the net there. Knuckles is going to head back to the service line. This one has been back and forth, currently in favor of Nebraska. 10-9 is the score. On the way to Hannah Grant. Right up at the top of the net, put right back down is Stiverans. Grant couldn't quite receive that one like she wanted. Scotty Johnson was waiting to set up her teammate, but a little bit too far, and Stiverans put it right back down on top of Michigan. The lead now 2 for Nebraska. Knuckles to Hannah Grant once more. Scotty Johnson lays out for it, keeps it up off the floor, and Kendall Murray keeps it alive to Knuckles. Hames now lightly tipped over as Stiverans, but Kendall Murray coming out of nowhere, keeping it alive. Merzick from the back row keeps it up. Knuckles to Hames. Stiverans again puts it right down. Got on top of the ball and just threw it down right in the face of Paige Jones. Biggest lead for the Cornhuskers of this first set, 12-9. Knuckles settling into a groove back there. Her serve a little bit too far, and that's going to be a point for the Wolverines. Great job of Hannah Grant showing the awareness to let that one go harmlessly out the back. And that's going to bring up Paige Jones to serve. Jones takes a couple deep breaths. Now punches it with the right hand. Hames over to the far side. That one right to Sweet, and she got all of it. Point Nebraska. The lead back up to 3, 13-10, as we have a substitution. Kayla Akana is going to check in to serve. And Sweet's going to head over and take a seat on the bench. Hames and Stiverans right in that front row, along with Kubik. Hannah Grant sets up Jess Merzick, and she hits it home. Met her at the top of the net was Hames and Stiverans, but couldn't keep it in bounds. A point for the Wolverines. This one back within 2. 11-13 is the score. Jess Robinson checks back in and Hannah Grant goes and grabs a drink on the sideline. Kayla Bear set to serve now. Bear with the right hand. Back to Hames, and Stiveron's out of nowhere. Showing off the athleticism. Too much for the Wolverines to handle right there. The senior from Scottsdale, Arizona. Crazy athleticism. Pair that with that 6'4" frame. You got a recipe for disaster for the Wolverines. The lead back to 3. Serve on the way from Kubik. That one too far. Jess Merzick and Paige Jones doing a nice job of getting out of the way of that one. Kubik, usually a pretty good server. That one just got away from her. Kendall Murray's going to head back to serve now. 12-14 is the score in favor of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Just as we say that, Kendall Murray puts that one a little long as it bounces off the back wall. Nebraska gets an easy one as we have 2 substitutions. Caffey and Densberger are going to check in, but we do have a timeout, so both teams are going to head to their benches. This one has been back and forth all day long. Michigan hanging in there tough with the number 5 team ranked in the country. They lost last night against this same team. Score 1-3. They won the first one 25-19. It was close the entire time. Then lost the next 3 consecutive, 25-16, 25-15, and that final set 25-20. Nebraska seemed to just kind of flip a switch in that one and remind everybody, oh yeah, we're one of the top programs in the nation. 45 seconds left in this timeout. Coaches Mark and Lisa Rosen talking to their girls, getting them ready to go back out there. Michigan has led by as much as 2 in this one. They're currently at a 3-point deficit. Nebraska, seemingly all of their points against them have come on just kind of miscommunications. Balls just getting tipped into gaps on the floor where there really wasn't any. On the offensive end, they can't really miss. Getting everything they want on the offensive end. Stiveron's leading the way with 4 kills. Right behind her, Maddie Kubik with 2. Stiveron's also has 3 blocks as well, so putting together an impressive stat line already. Densberger does check back in. She will serve. Had a nice little sequence her last time appearing in this contest. Nebraska holds a 15-12 lead here in this first set. As the referee gives the signal, we are set to go here. Timeout has concluded. Deep breath from Densberger. Now serve on the way to Merzick. That one a little bit too far. Kendall Murray keeps it up, and Hannah Grant gets it over. Great awareness there. Hames setting up her teammate, coming to her right hand is Caffey. Caffey came to that far side right in front of the scorer's table, got up with the right hand, and just sent it home. She's only 6 feet tall, but crazy athleticism allows her to get up there, just hover above the net. Densberger's next serve almost hits the Michigan bench as Michigan gets an easy point there. They're down by 3, 13-16. As we have 2 substitutions for the Cornhuskers. Knuckles is going to check back in. Jess Merzick to serve now for the Wolverines. Merzick serve on the way. Knuckles fields it. Kept up in the air by Kubik. Now to Sun. Can she keep it up? No. Sun put that one right between Jess Merzick and Hannah Grant, both laid out. Grant got a piece of it with her right hand, but not enough to keep it off the ground. The lead back up to 4 as Nicklin Hames heads to the back line to serve. Hames taking her time now. Michigan trying to stop the bleeding. 17-13 in favor of the Huskers. Scotty Johnson sets up Jess Merzick, and she puts it down. That one going through the hands of Sun. Sun got all of that one, just couldn't handle the power coming from Jess Merzick. Jess Robinson's going to head and take a seat, and Hannah Grant to serve now. This one The back line to Sun. Hames now setting up Caffey. Didn't quite get what you want. Kayla Bear now to her right hand and kept. What a save by Knuckles. Now Caffey with the right hand. Nebraska just can't seem to miss on the offensive end. (18-14) is the score for the Cornhuskers, just 7 points away from ending this first set. Lexi Sun now to serve. Her serve hits the front of the net, doesn't get over, so point Michigan. Scotty Johnson was right there if it did somehow manage to roll over. Speaking of Scotty Johnson, she will head to the service line now. Shares a quick few words with her teammate, Jess Merzick. The two freshmen for this Wolverines team have been fantastic so far in their first year. Johnson served to the back line to Sun. Hames now setting up Kubik on the near side, and she puts her right in the net. Michigan, 2 back-to-back points here. The lead now cut to just 2. Nebraska led by as much as 4 at one point. The score now cut 18-16 in favor of the Huskers. Scotty Johnson's serve on the way. The back row to Sun. Hames now setting up Caffey, sent right back up at her is Kayla Bear, but she's blocked. Point does eventually go in favor of the Wolverines. That one battered around right near the net and eventually off the hands of number 12, Sweet, for Nebraska and out of bounds. So the lead now just 1 for the Huskers. 17 serving 18 at Scotty Johnson. Right to Knuckles. Hames now setting up Kubik. Kept alive. Scotty Johnson now to Kendall Murray, and too far. That one looked like it might have gotten tipped, but the referees say no, so it's going to be point Nebraska as Stiveron checks back in for Caffey. Kenzie Knuckles is going to serve. A sophomore from Yorktown, Indiana. Her serve on the way to this near side to Hannah Grant. Johnson now setting up Paige Jones. Sent right back up at her is Stiveron's, her 4th block of the night. Stiveron's in her time in the court has been all over the place, doing it on both the offensive and defensive sides. Showing just the impact that the senior has for this team. Knuckles to serve with a 3-point advantage. Hannah Grant and Jess Merzick run into each other, and the ball falls harmlessly to the floor, so the lead back to 4 now, and Michigan's going to call a timeout. Michigan lucky neither player was injured there. Hannah Grant was going to her right, Jess Merzick to her left, and the two just collided, almost hit heads. But as we head into Michigan's second timeout, Nebraska holds a 4-point lead. Michigan was able to win that first set, as we said earlier, yesterday, as they played Nebraska last night. At 8 p.m., they fell to a 3-1 loss. Michigan was able to take the first set 25-19 and then lost the next 3 against a really, really solid program like Nebraska. Like we said, currently ranked number 5 in the nation. The Big Ten has been playing some really good volleyball as of late, but Nebraska ranked number 5 in the nation. Against a good team like this, you have to cut back on mistakes. Michigan hasn't really had too many defensive errors besides the past few possessions. It's mostly been Nebraska just dominating on the offensive end. But as I said, if you want to beat a tough program like Nebraska, you're going to have to be picture perfect. 30 seconds left in this timeout. Both teams are going to head back out. On the floor for the Wolverines is Grant, Merzick, Murray, Johnson, Jones, and Bear. Nebraska yet to come out. We don't have their lineup quite yet. And now here they come. It's going to be Hames, Stiverons, Kubik, Sweet, Knuckles, and if we can get you the last one, looks like, yep, it's going to be Lexi Sun. Nebraska just 4 points away from taking this first set as the timeout horn sounds. We are set to go here for some more Big Ten volleyball action. Taking her time back there on the service line is Kenzie Knuckles. Her serve on the way to Hannah Grant. Scotty Johnson now setting up Kendall Murray, come to her right hand and kept alive. Athletic play there by Kubik, and Stiverons puts her right into the hands of Hannah Grant. Still going. Murray again back to the right hand to Knuckles. Hames now to Kubik and kept it alive. Kendall Murray gets it back over. Hames setting up her teammate once more. And what a play by Hannah Grant to get it up, but sails too far out of bounds. Jazz Sweet, the senior from Topeka, Kansas, came in with the hard left hand. Hannah Grant was able to lay out and get it up, but couldn't keep it in bounds. Nebraska now just 3 points away from taking this first set. 22-17 is the score. Knuckles to Grant. Scotty Johnson now setting up Paige Jones. Coming in with the hard right hand tip, but gets it to go. Stiverons couldn't tally her fifth block. Just off her fingertips. So Michigan trying to make a comeback here. They're down 4, 18-22. Nebraska just 3 points away from taking set number 1. Dribbling the ball with both hands as she always does. Now deep breath. Serve on the way from Paige Jones and hits the front of the net. Nebraska gets an easy one there. Now just 2 points away from closing out this first set. Have a quick substitution. Sweet's going to head to the bench. Checking back in is Kayla Akana. Akana has seen limited action so far in this one. Her serve to the back row to Paige Jones. Scotty Johnson met at the top of the net by Kubik, and she just put it right down. Kayla Bear couldn't keep it up. As we have some words from the Michigan bench being yelled towards the referees, and Michigan's going to call timeout once more as Nebraska just 1 point away from taking this first set. 24-18 is the score in favor of the Huskers. They've looked dominant so far in this one. Michigan going to need to seriously get it together here. They're down by 6 as Nebraska is at set point here in set number 1. Against a top-tier program like this, it's going to be hard to come back from a one-set deficit. You want to get out early against a program like this. Michigan going to look to fight their way back into this one. Of course, it is win by 2, so if Michigan does manage to fight their way back to 24 points, they are going to need to get to 26 to win it. 6-point deficit for the Wolverines. We have just about 30 seconds left in this timeout. If you're just tuning in, we would like to thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan Volleyball here live from Cliff Keen Arena. This will be the last time we will cover Michigan Volleyball this season, as this is their last home game before they head to Wisconsin to play the Badgers in a 2-game set to close out their regular season schedule. Wolverines having a rough go of it right now. They're 4-6 total on the season. Again, due to COVID-19 restrictions, they're only playing a conference schedule. So these last 3 games are going to be the last before the NCAA tournament, if they do in fact grab a seed in that. And timeout wraps up. Akana's going to head to the back line to serve. The freshman from Hauula, Hawaii. Her serve right to Paige Jones. Johnson now launching it across to Jess Merzick. Hard right hand, but kept alive by Knuckles. What a save. Hames now to the near side. Kubik off the hands of Hannah Grant and kept alive. Merzick now with the right hand and gets it to go. Off the left hand of Hames and went almost out of bounds. Laying out for it was Akana, but couldn't quite keep it in. Jess Robinson's going to check back in. Hannah Grant's going to head to the bench. Michigan looking to fight their way back into this one. Down just 5 now as Kayla Bear heads to the service line. The Nebraska bench clapping it up, doing everything they can to motivate their team here. Fielded by Knuckles. Hames now tips it over. Great awareness, and that's going to do it for set number 1. Jess Robinson was waiting right there at the front of the net for a set and then an attempted kill. But Hames showing great awareness just to tip it back over. Nebraska takes set number 1 by 6 points. 25-19 is the final. Changing the tides of last evening's events. The score of the first set last night was this exact same, actually. just flipped the other way in favor of the Wolverines. Michigan took set number 1 and then lost the next 3. If you're a Michigan fan watching at home, you got to be hoping for just a repeat of last night thrown the other way. Nebraska takes this first one, now just 2 sets away from their second consecutive victory over the Wolverines. Michigan didn't really have too many issues in that first set, just Nebraska was dominant on the offensive end. Anything that got put up their way, they were sending it right back at the Wolverines. The stat line for Nebraska so far, Lauren Stiveron's leading the way on both ends. 5 kills along with 4 blocks, doing it all. And then also hot hands for the Cornhuskers. Maddie Kubik and Jazz Sweet both with 2 kills and 2 blocks. Having a day. Nicklin Hames has 9 assists right up near the front of the net. She's doing it all for her team too, including that last point to end set number 1. Hames, an extremely intelligent player. The junior from Maryville, Tennessee, has been a huge part of this Cornhuskers team all year long and throughout her career. A huge part of the reason that this team is ranked so high nationally. As we said, the Big Ten has been incredible all year long, all the way through. Just looking at the top rankings right now, Wisconsin is sitting at number 1, Minnesota at number 4, Nebraska at 5, Ohio State at 9, Purdue 10. So many Big Ten teams all the way through. They've been really, really solid all year. Michigan struggling this season, but
Michigan is also a fairly young team, so hopefully in the future they'll be able to build off of this experience this season.
Absolutely. They've had great production from their freshmen so far in this season. Jess Merzick and Scotty Johnson doing great jobs contributing in their first year. Scotty Johnson, team leader in assists. The 6-foot freshman has had an incredible year so far, and Jess Merzick, we've said her name so many times, but she's just been phenomenal. Second on the team so far this season in total points. Second in kills, 118 coming into this contest, 132.5 total points, only behind the captain, Paige Jones. So an impressive first year for both freshmen. As the time between sets is just about wrapped up, and we're going to go to set number 2. The Wolverines looking to bounce back after that rough first set loss. Nebraska looking to extend their lead. Coming out on the court for the Wolverines is going to be Jess Robinson, Paige Jones, Kayla Bear, Kendall Murray, Scotty Johnson, along with Jess Merzick. And, yep, Hannah Grant is going to check in right away for Jess Robinson. In terms of Nebraska out there, we have Sweet, Kubik, Knuckles, Sun, and then, yep, that's Hames and Stiverins as well. The usual suspects on the side of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Opening whistle, and Kenzie Knuckles, the libero, is set to serve as we start the first set. Johnson laying out for that one. Jess Merzick now coming with the right hand, off the right hand, and Knuckles, can they keep it alive? No, they can't. Michigan out to an early lead. Lexi Sun ran all the way across the court for that one, but had to pull up at the last second as not to run into the stairs. Michigan does not seem fazed that Nebraska won that first set, coming out hot early. Kayla Bear to serve now. Her serve right to Sun. Hames now sliding, setting herself up for Kubik. Scotty Johnson now keeps it alive. Jones to the near side to Kendall Murray and sent right back at her. Kubik and Stiverins right there. Those two have just been a brick wall. Sweet's going to head to the bench, and Akana's going to check back in for her. Hannah Grant is also going to check in for Kayla Bear. Akana taking her time. 1-1 is the score. Her serve to Hannah Grant. Scotty Johnson now setting up Jess Robinson, but Nebraska not fooled, sends it right back. Merzick now tips it over lightly. Can she keep it up? What a play by Akana to keep it up, and just gets the back corner. They're going to call it. That ball actually went out, but they're going to call a tip on Jess Robinson. Lexi Sun came out of nowhere and sent that one back towards the Wolverines. Nebraska takes the lead for the first time in this set. Akana taking a deep breath, coming in with the right hand now to the back corner to Scotty Johnson. Mersick tips it over lightly, a little bit too far, but Lexi Sun keeps it alive. Hames now to the near side to Kubik, and what a play by Hannah Grant to keep it up. Met at the top of the net, and we're going to stay alive. Murray now to Paige Jones, tips it over lightly with two hands. Hames to Knuckles, to Kubik with the hard right hand, and Jess Robinson right there to block it back. Robinson and Kendall Murray formed a wall right at the top of the net. We're not letting anything through there, and we're back tied up at 2. After tailing that block, Kendall Murray is going to head to the service line. Her serve on the way. Knuckles keeps it up off the ground and gets it back over. Johnson tips it over with the left hand. Akana not phased. Kubik now. Kendall Murray keeps it up and diving, but can't quite get there as Paige Jones. Jones laid out for that one, but to no avail. Kubik's going to head back to serve now for Nebraska. Spinning the ball on the left hand, deep breath, serve on the way now. Right to Jess Merzick. Scotty Johnson set up Merzick again with the light left hand tip to Hames, to Knuckles. Coming out of nowhere, Lexi Sun blocked but out of bounds. Nebraska again. Jess Robinson doing a really nice job of getting up there and forming that wall. But that ball just unfortunately off her left elbow and shoots towards the Nebraska bench out of bounds. Kubik serve again. Right to Merzick. Scotty Johnson setting up Jess Robinson. Hard right hand and too much for Akana to Hansel. Point Michigan. Jess Robinson running to this near side. Went up with the right hand. Sent it all the way across court to the opposite side. Extremely tough to defend. As we were just talking about her a few minutes ago, Jess Merzick, the freshman, back to serve now. To Akana. Hames setting up Lexi Sun, right to Kendall Murray, and all the way over to the far side as it bounces up and hits Coach Mark Rosen in the face. Point Nebraska. Kendall Murray getting a lot of playing time in these past 2 matches against Nebraska with May Pertowski, being out. As Densberger set to serve now to Hannah Grant. Johnson now setting up Jess Robinson again, but blocked back. Johnson keeps it alive. Hannah Grant now to Paige Jones with the right hand and kept up. Hames now to Sun. Light tip with the left hand. This one's still alive. Johnson to the back row to Merzick. We're still going. Lexi Sun going back to the right hand. Paige Jones keeps it up. Johnson now with the left hand. What a smart play by Scotty Johnson. Both team was just going after kill attempt after kill attempt. And Johnson, after setting 3 straight balls, decides she's going to do it herself with the left hand to the back corner and gets it to go. The score now 4-5 in favor of Nebraska as Hannah Grant serve goes right in the hands of Akana. Now Lexi Sun tipping it over lightly to Kendall Murray. Johnson to Bear with the right hand. Kept alive by Kubik. Hames now back to Sun. That one too far. Point Michigan. Jess Merzick diving on the floor to get out of the way of that one. And we're back tied up. Taking her time is Hannah Grant. Her serve on the way now. Kana barely keeps it up off the ground, but out of bounds. Diving after it was Knuckles, but Michigan takes the lead for only the first time since tailing that first point in this set. 6-5 is the score in favor of the Wolverines. Referee gives us the signal, and we're ready to go. Grant serve on the way again. It hits the front of the net and drops down harmlessly, so Nebraska's going to get a quick and easy one there as we have a substitution. Jazz Sweet is going to check back in for Kayla Akana. And Nicklin Hames is going to set back up to serve now. The 5'10 junior has had an amazing day so far as her serve goes right to Kendall Murray. Scotty Johnson now setting up Paige Jones and hits Hames in the face and gets it to fall down. The ball went off the forehead of Hames to Sweet in the front row, and she tipped it way back and past the back line out of bounds. Michigan takes the lead again, 7-6. Scotty Johnson taking her time. Serve on the way with the left hand now to Kubik. Hames setting up Lexi Sun. Tipped but kept alive. Scotty Johnson now to Kendall Murray. Light tip, and Nebraska not fooled. Johnson to Hannah Grant, who just hits it backwards over her head. Hames now setting her up, her teammate. Coming out of nowhere is Kayla Caffey. And we're back tied up. Caffey has had a pretty quiet day so far. She has 4 kills on the afternoon, but been spread out few and far between. As that serve, Jess Merzick couldn't decide until last second whether or not she wanted to play it. Made the wrong call as it goes off her forearm and out of bounds. Tell you that one is an ace for Lexi Sun. Sun settling back in now. Her next serve right back to Merzick. Hannah Grant over to Kendall Murray with the hard right hand and gets it to go. Lexi Sun made the wrong read there. And Kendall Murray put it right where it needed to be, hitting that Big Ten logo. We're back tied up, very similar to last set. 8-8 is the score. Paige Jones heads back to the service line now. Front row for Michigan, Bear, Johnson, and Kendall Murray. That one right to Knuckles. Hames now setting up Caffey and puts it right through the hands of Kendall Murray. Murray and Bear were right up there in the front row, but Caffey just put it down into their chests, and it fell right down to the floor, so Nebraska takes the lead again. Kenzie Knuckles looks to her coach on the sideline for a few words. Now her serve is on the way. To Paige Jones. Jones fields it awkwardly, and it falls to the ground. Nebraska with another ace there. 10-8 is the score. We have another whistle. And Knuckles settling back in now. Pretty much every time we've seen her serve, she's gone for a while. Knows how to string together some rallies. This one to Paige Jones. Same thing, but back over the net, and Stiveron's not fooled. Sends it right back at the Wolverines. The biggest lead for the Cornhuskers this set is 3 as Amber Beals checks in for the first time today. Paige Jones is going to go take a break. 11-8 is the score. Nebraska out in front. Beals situated in that back row with Hannah Grant and Jess Merzick. First serve on the way. Right to Beals. Scotty Johnson keeps it up off the floor. Merzick coming in with the right hand. Right to Hames. Knuckles now to the far side to Sweet. And Jess Merzick and Kayla Bear right there to stop that one from coming back over. The set was a little too short. Sweet tried to push it over and couldn't quite get there. Michigan tallies another one. 9 points total in this set. Down by 2. 11-9 is the score. Kayla Bear serve to the back row to Knuckles. Hames now to this near side. Kubik puts it right down. Amber Beals laid out for that one but couldn't get there. Amber Beals by far the smallest person on this Wolverines team, standing only 5'2". Didn't quite have the length to go and get that one off the floor, so Nebraska with another one here, 12-9. Akana's serve to Merzick. Johnson lays out for that one, keeps it up. Merzick with the right hand to Knuckles. Hames now near side. Kubik tipped up by Jess Robinson and kept alive. Amber Beals now to Johnson. Merzick, and she gets it to go. That one to the left hand to Lexi Sun. Couldn't get there in enough time to set up her teammates. It goes off her left hand and way off to the sideline. So Michigan tallies another one. Only down 2 now. Nebraska leads 12-10. Kendall Murray Her serve on the way. That one goes off the front of the net. So Nebraska with a 13-10 lead is going to send Maddie Kubik to the back row to serve. Kendall Murray has had a fantastic day so far, aside from that service error, the hometown kid from Ann Arbor. Kubik serve, tips off the front of the net and rolls right over the head of Scotty Johnson. Jess Merzick couldn't get there in time. The lead is 4 for Nebraska now. Michigan leaving a lot of room right around the front of the net. That's how that last one dropped. Kubik's second serve on the way to Hannah Grant. Little too far. Scotty Johnson gets it over. Stiveron keeps it alive. We're going to have a whistle. It's going to be a double hit on Nebraska. So point Michigan as the captain, Paige Jones, runs over to check back in. She's going to take out Amber Beals. Beals with some great production in her time on the court. One of the few players to come off that Michigan bench today. Michigan has relied so far pretty much entirely on their starters. Jess Merzick, her serve to Kubik. Hames now to Sun. Scotty Johnson now setting up Paige Jones a little bit too far, but Jones adjusts midair. Nebraska keeps it alive. Kubik from the back row to Murray. Johnson, Jess Robinson coming to the right hand and sent right back at her. Lexi Sun all over that one. Read Jess Robinson like a book. Robinson's been successful with that move so far in this one, but has become very predictable as of late, coming to that right hand near sideline. Nebraska coming into this timeout 15-11. They won that first set by 6, final score of 25-19. Looking to close this one out here now. They're out in front. If you were just tuning in, we would like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan Volleyball here live from Cliff Keen Arena. This one, a matchup against number 5 nationally ranked Nebraska. Michigan dropped a contest to them last night to a score of 3-1. This the second game of a 2-game series, the last home game of the season in Cliff Keen Arena before the Wolverines head to Madison, Wisconsin on April 1st and 2nd, that being Thursday and Friday of next week, to play the Badgers in their final 2 regular season games. Coach Mark Rosen shares some words with his team as there's just about 15 seconds left in this timeout. This set, a crucial one for Michigan. In a best of 5, it's really hard to come back being down 2 sets, especially against a really, really solid program like Nebraska. So the horn sounds, and we are back out. Quick substitution for Nebraska. Stivrins is going to check out, and checking back in is Haley Densberger. We've seen Densberger pretty much just as a service specialist in this one. She's had little time on the floor besides when she's serving. Her first attempt on the way, right to Hannah Grant. A little bit too far, and met her at the top of the net, Scotty Johnson. Great awareness. Hannah Grant's dig a little bit too far for Johnson to set up, so she just went right to the left hand. Lexi Sun tried to meet her at the top of the net, but to no avail. Michigan tallies another one. 15-12 is the score in favor of Nebraska. Hannah Grant to serve now. To Akana. Hames to the near side to Sun with force, but Kendall Murray keeps it alive. Merzick just puts it over at 2 hands. And what a play out of nowhere. Kayla Caffey comes in off the set from Nicklin Hames and puts it right into the chest of Hannah Grant. Nebraska with seemingly all the momentum right now. Their bench is amped up. Hames, after that great assist, heads to the service line. This one on the way, right hand to Jess Merzick. Scotty Johnson now back across the court to Paige Jones. Kept alive. Knuckles lays out for that one. Hames to Sun. Blocked by Kayla Bear, but still going. Akana, what a play. That one, Kayla Caffey with the right hand right in that block M. Puts it to the back row where there were no Wolverines in sight. Nebraska holds a 5-point lead now. Nebraska would lead of 5 points in this set and a game lead of 1-0. Ames' serve set up by Scotty Johnson and blocked. Paige Jones tried to put it down with the right hand, but situated right there was Jazz Sweet, ready to put it right back at her, the senior from Topeka, Kansas. Having a day on the defensive end. Lead is now 6 for Nebraska. The serve put right to Hannah Grant. Scotty Johnson now setting up Paige Jones. Jones back to the right hand, but kept alive by Knuckles. Hames to Kubik from the back row. That one off the arm of Jess Merzick. And Nebraska out to a huge lead now. As Coach Mark Rosen calls timeout, the lead now 19-12 in favor of Nebraska. They went on a real hot streak there. Michigan just had no answers defensively. Nebraska firing on all cylinders on the offensive end. The defensive end, they're playing well. Lauren Stiveron, 6 total blocks, leading her team. Maddie Kubik and Jazz Sweet also have 3 of their own. Kayla Caffey and Lexi Sun also add in 1 apiece. Nobody on the Michigan side has more than 1. Jess Robinson, Kendall Murray, and Scotty Johnson all have 1 to their name. That's it for the Wolverines. Leading the way for Michigan on the offensive end is Jess Merzick. She has 8 kills. That's pretty much the only offensive production for Michigan so far in this one. On the other end, it's very well spread out. Kayla Caffey has 7. Stivrins has 6. Maddie Kubik has 5. Lexi Sun with 4. Hames, really known as a setter at only 5'10", has 2 of her own. Jazz Sweet with 2 as well. Nebraska getting contributions from all over the place. Main reason they're out in front in this one. They're on a 4-0 scoring run. Looking to make it 5 as this timeout wraps up. Nebraska just 6 points away from closing out set number 2 and taking a 2-set lead. Michigan putting their big guns out there on the court. It's Hannah Grant, Jess Merzick, Kendall Murray, Paige Jones, Kayla Barrett, and Scotty Johnson. For Nebraska, it's Hames, Kubik, Knuckles, Sweet, Sun, and Caffey. Hames to serve to Hannah Grant. Scotty Johnson sets up Kayla Barrett, kept alive. What a play by both Knuckles and Sun to keep it alive. The Nebraska bench is pumped as Jess Merzick puts that one off the front of the net. Nebraska now just 5 points away from closing out set number 2. And checking in for Michigan for the first time today is May Pertovsky. First time Pertovsky's seen time. Paige Jones is going to head to the sidelines. Pertovsky didn't play yesterday. Kendall Murray started in her position. Murray started today as well. That's her. Pertovsky trying to get involved early. Her kill attempt blocked. Merzick now trying from the back row, and that one too far. 21-12 is the score. Is Pertovsky's going to check right back out. Paige Jones checking back in. Just decided to get Jones a quick drink. Nebraska with their biggest lead of the night, 21-12. Just 4 points away from wrapping up set number 2. Nebraska on a 6-0 scoring run. Kendall Murray fields the serve from Hames. Paige Jones coming out of nowhere and tipped off the arm of Sweet. Michigan finally stops the bleeding as they tally their first point in 6. Michigan has a lot of recovery to do here. They're down by 8. Nebraska leads 21-13. Scotty Johnson heads to the back line to serve now. Hers on the way. Hames keeps it up. Sets up Sun. Nice play by Hannah Grant to keep it alive. Johnson to the far side. Paige Jones blocked right back at her. That one, Caffey. Kayla Caffey and Lexi Sun both went up for that one, but Paige Jones put it right into the hands of Caffey, and she put it right back at her. Caffey has 2 blocks now. Lexi Sun heads to the back service line, just 3 points away from closing out set number 2. Mersick lays out to keep it alive. Kendall Murray now coming with the right hand. Knuckles keeps it up. Hames to Caffey. Michigan not phased. Mersick's kill attempt blocked. And kept back. Paige Jones doing a nice job to get it back over. Hames to the far side to Sweet. Sweet with the left hand. Tipped off Kendall Murray, and that one goes. Nebraska cannot be stopped right now. 23-13, their biggest lead of the night. They're on a 7-1 scoring run. Michigan doesn't have any answers right now for the Cornhuskers. Lexi Sun serve. Right to Jess Mersick. Scotty Johnson setting up Kendall Murray on the far side and tipped right back at her again. Jazz Sweet and Kayla Caffey right there. Set point for Nebraska. 24-13 is the score. Nebraska on a heater right now. We're on a 3-0 short-term scoring run, 8-1 total. Paige Jones heads up with the right hand. Knuckles lays out for that one, and Michigan gets one to go. The lead now cut to just 10. It is go time for the Wolverines. They're really going to need to ramp it up on both the offensive and defensive end if they even want a hope of winning this one. The Nebraska bench claps it up on the far side. They're amped up. Paige Jones to serve. Right to Lexi Sun. Hames setting up Caffey, blocked right back at her. Kayla Bear not fooled. Lead now only single digits for Nebraska. Nebraska out in front 24-15 as Paige Jones heads to the back line to serve. So you have a quick few moments of deliberation between the Nebraska assistant coach and the referee. Mersick keeps it alive. Kayla Bear tips it over lightly. Hames now to the far side to Sweet. Blocked back at her, and that one goes out of play. Kayla Bear was there, but couldn't get it to fall back down. Nebraska takes set number 2 by a commanding victory. 25-15 is the final in set number 2. Nebraska now holds a 2-0 lead. Just one away from closing this one out as we enter halftime. Got 5 minutes on the clock. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll meet you back here in just about 4 minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The quick in-between set break is just about wrapped up. Only 2 minutes left to go. We're going to give you a quick recap of this one if you're just tuning in. This one has pretty much been all Nebraska so far. They're out to a 2-set lead, taking that last one by a commanding victory, 25-15. They also won that first set by a lead of 6, 25-19 was the final. This is, of course, the second matchup between these two teams in the past 48 hours. Nebraska bested Michigan in 4 sets last night. Michigan took the first one by a score of 25-19 before getting kind of stomped on the next 3. But Nebraska, like we said, out to a 2-0 lead currently. In terms of production for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, it's been all over the place. Kayla Caffey doing it on both ends, 7 kills, 3 blocks. Lauren Stiveron's doing it for sure on both ends, 6 kills, 6 blocks. Jazz Sweet as well, 4 kills, 4 blocks. There's been production all over the board. Looks like, yes, 6 different Nebraska Cornhuskers tallying kills in this one at more than 1. They've been all over the place, doing it on both ends. For Michigan, they've struggled a little bit. Jess Merzick leading the way with 8 kills. Paige Jones right behind her with 5. Kendall Murray, the freshman, has provided some really good production in her time, stepping in for May Pertovsky. We've only seen Pertovsky once tonight. She's currently out with injury. She came in for 1 point to get Paige Jones a quick breather. Didn't have much action. Had 1 kill attempt. That's it. We are set to go here in set number 3. Can the Wolverines battle back and take this one to 5 sets, or will Nebraska end it early? Nebraska obviously only 1 set away from taking the victory over the Wolverines. On the floor to start for Michigan, it's going to be Kendall Murray, Jess Robinson, Kayla Bear. May Pertovsky is in. Paige Jones is over on the sidelines, along with Jess Merzick and Scotty Johnson. Hannah Grant also sitting there talking to Lisa Rosen. Most likely we'll see her check in just as we start here. Looks like there's going to be some substitutions for Nebraska as well. Yep, Hannah Grant checks in for Jess Robinson. In terms of personnel for the Cornhuskers, it's going to be Knuckles, Sun, Hames, Stivrins, and then, yep, that's going to be Kubik and Sweet as well. Michigan will start on the offensive attack. Kendall Murray is set to serve to open up set number 3. Nebraska looking to go home early. Michigan looking to fight back here. Kendall Murray's first serve on the way. Rattles off 2 Nebraska defenders, and Michigan out to an early lead here. That's kind of been a theme. Michigan gets out early, and then Nebraska just fights their way back. That one just falls right between Kubik and Sun. Ricochets off both of them before heading out of bounds. Kendall Murray's second serve coming in now. This one rolls off the front of the net, but kept up by Stivrins. Hames slides for it, keeps it alive. Sweet with the left hand to Scotty Johnson. Hannah Grant now to Jess Merzick. Merzick puts her right to Knuckles, but she keeps it up. Hames to the near side to Kubik. Rattles off a couple Michigan defenders, but kept alive. Jess Merzick with the right hand now, blocked. Hames to Sweet with the left hand. That one just falls before bouncing up off the referee. Perfectly placed from Jazz Sweet. Back in that far left corner where there weren't any Wolverines. You have a quick substitution for her. Checking in is Kayla Akana. Akana serve on the way to Kendall Murray. She tramples over her own teammate, and Kayla Bear hits that one out of bounds. It's going to be a point for Nebraska. Kendall Murray went to her left to keep that one alive and just stepped on top of Hannah Grant. Kendall Murray obviously much taller than Grant, just kind of folded her over. Akana to serve again. This one right to the back row to Kendall Murray. Keeps it alive. Johnson running over. Jess Merzick with the right hand and off Knuckles and way out of bounds. Michigan ties it back up at 2. After some early quality possessions. Hannah Grant's going to head to the bench. Jess Robinson checking back in now. A front line we really haven't seen today. It's Merzick, Robinson, and Pertovsky. Kayla Bear serves right to Knuckles. Hames setting up Stiveron's coming from the far side, and she puts it down off the left hand to Jess Merzick and out of bounds. Stiveron's really intimidating on the offensive side. 6'4", can jump out of the gym. It's really tough to defend. Nebraska up 3-2. This one on the way. Miscommunication by Kendall Murray and Jess Merzick. They run into each other as Maddie Kubik gets that one to fall harmlessly to the ground. Maddie Kubik, the sophomore from Des Moines, Iowa, having a day. This one right to Merzick. Scotty Johnson now setting up Jess Robinson, but Nebraska not fooled. Hames back to Stivrins to that right hand, and she gets it to go. Exact same situation we saw her score on a few possessions ago. Nebraska out to their biggest lead of this set, 5-2. Maddie Kubik to serve again. Gets on top of it, Jess Merzick to Pertovsky. Kendall Murray from the back row and too far. 4-point lead now for the Cornhuskers. Michigan in shambles right now, down 4 early, 6-2 in favor of Nebraska. Maddie Kubik serve to Kendall Murray, off her left arm and over the Michigan bench. Nebraska on a 5-0 scoring run now. Nebraska can't be stopped. It was back and forth early, tied at 2-2. And then Nebraska, like we said, goes on a 5-0 scoring run. This one to Kendall Murray. Johnson to Merzick. And Nebraska doing a great job keeping it up, but Jess Robinson right there to put it back down. Michigan ends the drought. Cuts the lead to just 4 now. Checking in for Michigan for the first time today is going to be Abby Malinowski. She's going to check in for Pertovsky. Malinowski serve on the way to Knuckles. Hames now to Sun with the right hand, gets it, but Hannah Grant keeps it alive. Scotty Johnson to Jess Merzick. We're going to have a whistle. It's going to be point Nebraska. It looks like Merzick followed through and hit the net on that one. Another mistake by Michigan leads to a point for Nebraska. Knuckles is going to head to the sideline. Checking back in for her is Densberger. 8-3 is the score. Nebraska way out in front. Serve on the way to Merzick. That one too hot, goes back over. And who but Kayla Caffey waiting for it after it comes off the hands of Jess Merzick. The lead now 6 for Nebraska. Haley Densberger has been having a day back there at the line. This serve to Merzick. Scotty Johnson to the far side and back to Merzick. And Lexi Sun can't handle that one. Michigan notches another one on the scoreboard. The lead now just 5. 2 quick substitutions for Nebraska. Checking back in is going to be Akana and Knuckles. Stivrins and Densberger head to the sideline. Some big points can sway either way. This serve from Jess Merzick right to Hames now. Lexi Sun. But Merzick, what a play to keep it alive. Scotty Johnson to the far side to Kendall Murray. Tips it over lightly. Laying out is Akana. Now to Lexi Sun. Did it get tipped? Looks like it did. It's going to be Nebraska point. Lexi Sun with sneaky athleticism just gets up there and floats above the net. Nicklin Hames is back there on the line to serve now. 6-point advantage as that serve goes to Jess Merzick. Now Scotty Johnson to Kendall Murray, blocked but kept alive. Johnson to Merzick from the back row and puts it down lightly. Putting everything out after that one is Kenzie Knuckles, but can't quite get there in time. We saw Jess Merzick be really successful with that one early and into the middle of that first set. That's really the first time since then we've seen her go back to that move. Able to capitalize on it. Hannah Grant to serve now. To Knuckles. And what a play. Just textbook volleyball right there. Knuckles with the dig and just set right back up for Nicklin Hames. And who else? We've said her name a bunch. Kayla Caffey puts it right back down, the leader in kills for this Nebraska team. 6-point lead still for Nebraska. Lexi serve on the way to Merzick. Johnson. Kendall Murray to the back row, but Knuckles keeps it alive. Hames to Kubik. First time we've said her name in a while, getting some action. Murray now back to the right hand, and great read by Lexi Sun to let it go out of bounds. Michigan started celebrating a little early there. Lexi Sun showing great court awareness, knowing where she is, knowing when to get out of the way to let that one go. 7-point lead for Nebraska. Lexi Sun serve to Merzick, to Scotty Johnson. Kayla Bear running to that right hand and puts it down. Akana can't handle that one. Or sorry, Kayla Caffey rather. Caffey with 3 blocks on the afternoon. Can't tally another one there. Abby Malinowski's going to head to the bench. And May Pertovsky's going to check back in. Scotty Johnson now. Serving for the Wolverines. To Sun. Hames to Sweet with the left hand. Johnson keeps it alive. Can they get it? No, they can't. Off the right hand, or off the right arm rather, of Scotty Johnson. May Pertovsky ran around the net for that one, but eventually just bounces up into the stands a little bit too far for Pertovsky to get after. 13-6 is how the scoreboard reads as Kenzie Knuckles heads to the line to serve. This one on the way to Hannah Grant. To Johnson. Kendall Murray coming with the right hand right to Sun with force but kept alive. Merzick laying out. Johnson to the far side to Pertovsky, and Hannah Grant gets it over. I went a little bit too far. Sweet coming at the left hand and blocked back by May Pertovsky. Pertovsky tallying her first block of the afternoon. Has played very limited minutes. Again, we didn't see her play at all yesterday, as there's going to be a timeout called. Michigan trying to fight their way back into this one. They're down 6 right now. Nebraska up 13-7. Good to see some production from May Pertovsky late in this one. Sophomore, hoping to get something going. Pertovsky was a huge part of this Michigan lineup last season. Led the team in blocks 10+ times. Was named to the All-Big Ten freshman team. An absolute machine on both the offensive and defensive end. That 1-2 punch with her and Paige Jones was really hard to handle for a couple teams. Add in an extra outside hitter this year in Jess Merzick, and when this team is healthy, they could be scary. They're really young. Next year, Paige Jones is going to be a senior. But that young core of Jess Merzick, Scotty Johnson, May Pertovsky, throw Kendall Murray and Jess Robinson in there, and you've got a recipe for a really solid program in the upcoming years. Paige Jones, as we were mentioning the accolades of May Pertovsky last year, Paige Jones was just as good. Led the team in kills per set, total kills, service aces, as well as being named to the first team All-Big Ten. Like we said, a solid core returning for the Wolverines. As we have a little bit more deliberation, and that point is going to go to Nebraska. It's going to be taken off the board from Michigan, so now the lead is 8 for the Cornhuskers. 14-6 is the score as Kenzie Knuckles heads back to serve once more. Pertovsky, Bear, Merzick, Hannah Grant, Kendall Murray, and Scotty Johnson on the floor for the Wolverines. Takes a few dribbles and a deep breath. Right-handed serve on the way. Johnson setting up Kayla. Bear puts it down with force. That's the most efficient Michigan's looked on the offensive end all night. That one just textbook. Thought there was going to be a substitution, a little bit of miscommunication. Hannah Grant's going to stay on the floor. Kendall Murray's going to head back to serve. Front line, Pertofsky, Merzik, and Bear for the Wolverines. That serve to Sun. Hames to Sweet, lightly tips it over at the left hand. Pertofsky keeps it alive. Merzik now trying. Can't get it to go. Hames setting back up for Jazz Sweet. Johnson to May Pertofsky. Can she get one to go? Off the hands of Hames. Can they keep it alive? Great hustle by Nebraska. But eventually a player, looks like, yep, that one, Maddie Kubik, just runs into the referee. Looked like Nebraska was going to be able to keep that one alive. Two incredibly athletic plays coming from both Knuckles, followed up by Hames. Then, unfortunate to see the referee kind of get in the way of that one. The lead now just 7 for Nebraska. Kendall Murray to serve again. This one low, right to Lexi Sun. Hames setting up Jazz Sweet, and Jess Merzik is amped up as she blocks that one right back at her. The freshman showing the senior, oh yeah, I can do that too. Michigan stringing together a little bit of a run here. Down 6. Kendall Murray serve again on the way to Kubik. Hames back to Sweet, right to Kendall Murray, keeps it up. Johnson to the far side. Jess Merzik blocked back out there, but Michigan not phased. Kendall Murray from the back row to Hames. Knuckles now. Sweet coming with the left hand and puts it down to the floor. This Nebraska team is so good. Any kind of adversity, they just brush it off and keep playing. They're up 7 as we head into this timeout. 15-8 is the score. Nebraska looking to close this one out early in 3 sets. Michigan looking to extend this one. If you are just tuning in, we would like to thank you for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan Volleyball. I know we've mentioned it a few times, but this is the last this will be the last game that WCBN covers of Michigan Volleyball this year, as it's the last home game of the season before the team ships off to Madison, Wisconsin to face the Badgers in a 2-game series. Michigan obviously had a large portion of the season postponed due to COVID-19 protocols. They missed 10 total games. They missed their series against Minnesota, Rutgers, MSU, Northwestern, and Penn State. They did end up playing one game against MSU in East Lansing. They won that one 3-1. When you look at their record so far in the season, they're 4-6. It doesn't look like they're having too great of a year, but then you look at the games they actually have played, and they've been tough ones. They lost 2 to Ohio State, who's the number 9th ranked team in the country. They lost to Nebraska, who was number 5 overall ranked. They lost 2 to Purdue, who at the time was number 11, is now up to, I think, 10 in the rankings. A lot of solid games, a lot of really competitive games against high-level teams. This Michigan team has showed that they have the talent, just hasn't seemed to fall in their direction. But the timeout wraps up here. Nebraska holds a 7-point lead. 15-8 is the score in set number 3. Of course, they do hold that 2-set lead as well. Quick substitution for Nebraska before we get going. Sweet's going to check out, and checking back in is Kayla Akana. The freshman from Hauula, Hawaii, has had quite the day so far. Taking her time. A few dribbles to the right hand, deep breath. Now serve is on the way to Kendall Murray. Scotty Johnson setting up Pertofsky. To the back row, Lexi Sun keeps it up and right back over the net. Johnson now to Kayla Bear, blocked. Lauren Stiveron's right there. That's block number 7 on the afternoon. Stiveron's a force to be reckoned with in the middle. 6'4", wingspan even longer than that. And crazy athleticism adds up for a tough defensive matchup. This serve from Akana hits the front of the net, so Michigan gets an easy one there. First mess up we've seen from Akana from the service line. It's now going to be Kayla Bear's chance. Bear serve to the back left corner. That one too far. Akana made the right read. 2 back-to-back service errors, and we're back to a net 0 score. 17-19 is the lead for Nebraska. Quick substitution. Hannah Grant's going to check back in. Kayla Bear's going to head off to the sideline. It's going to be Maddie Kubik to serve now. This one to the back to Merzick. Out a little bit too far over, and Stiveron's waiting for it. You saw our teammate Nicklin Hayes just kind of breathe out after that one. Stiveron's got up and got absolutely all of that one as another timeout is called. Nebraska up by 9 now. Hope for Michigan seems to be fleeting. Nebraska just 7 points away from taking this one in a 3-0 sweep. Don't count out the Wolverines, though. We've seen them be able to battle back from deficits like this throughout the season. They almost did last set. They kind of got a little bit of a run going there. They did in the first set, fought it back after being down 5 at one point. But Nebraska is out to that 2-set lead. They won the first one 25-19, the second one more decisively 25-15. Michigan really hasn't had any answers for them on the offensive end. Kayla Caffey and Lauren Stiveron, both with 9 kills apiece. 2 very different play styles. Caffey, only 6 foot tall, the junior from Chicago, Illinois. Kind of a more side-to-side approach. She's been going to that right hand on the far side, right in front of the scorer's table all night. Coming back to the left, and Stiveron has just been sitting right in the middle, using her height advantage as best as she can, just getting on top of the ball and putting it right where Michigan can't get to it. The whistle from the referee sounds, and that timeout is wrapped up. So here we go. It is going to be Nebraska's ball to serve. It's going to be Maddie Kubik. Nebraska just 7 points away from a 3-set sweep. Over there on the sideline, Haley Densberger shares some high fives with her teammates. Michigan bench is locked in as well. They are in it. That serve on the way. Jess Merzick keeps it up. Murray pushes it over with 2 hands. We're going to go again. Akana to Hames. Coming out of nowhere, Stiverons. She's the first player on her team to hit double-digit kills, up to 10 now. Stiveron's going over to that right hand, putting it right past Jess Robinson. The lead is 10. Kubik to the back row to Murray. Johnson now setting up Merzick. Merzick with a hard right hand, but Akana not phased. Kubik to the far side. Lexi Sun tips it over. Jess Robinson now to Johnson. Over to Merzick. Tipped up but kept alive. Nebraska not phased. Coming from the back rows. Kubik. Johnson keeps it alive now. Hannah Grant back to Merzick. That one kept up, and Pertovsky just waiting there, stopping the attempt from Nicklin Hames to just slide and tip it back over. The lead back down to single digits. Abby Malinowski is going to check back in. Pertovsky's going to head off to the side. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the last we see of Pertovsky in this one. Like we said, has seen very limited time today. Didn't play at all yesterday. Malinowski serve. Fielded now. It's going to be Sun trying to keep it up and gets blocked back out there. Jess Robinson and Scotty Johnson waiting right there for this one. Michigan maybe starting to put together a little bit of a run here. Nebraska had all the momentum, led by as much as 10 at one point. The lead now just 8. Hames to the near side. Lexi Sun. Jess Robinson not fooled. Merzick coming back, running to her right-handed knuckles. Hames now back to Sun. Tipped up Both teams just going at it. Jess Merzick with the right hand blocked back at her, and she puts it back up herself. Sadie Johnson's attempt now blocked back at her. Stiverons with 2 in a row. Hannah Grant to Johnson. Merzick now to Knuckles. Neither team looking to bend here as Lexi Sun pushes it right over lightly, right in the gap between Abby Malinowski and Kendall Murray. Neither team wanted to break there. Eventually it's Michigan. We have a few substitutions. Hames, Stiverons, and Knuckles all checking out. Densberger checking in. She's going to serve along with Kaylin Meyer. Only the 3rd set all year that Meyer has played in. Looking to get some action late in this one. 20-11 is the score as Haley Densberger serves that one a little bit too far. Kendall Murray doing a nice job reading that one, lets it go out of play. So everybody who just came back in for Nebraska is going to check back out. Same substitutions, Knuckles and Hames coming back out on the floor. Jess Merzick going to serve. Jess Robinson, Scotty Johnson, and Kendall Murray, the front row for Michigan. Long, deep breath from Jess Merzick. This one to Akana, to Hames from the back row. Gets it to go. It's Kubik. Malinowski laid out for that one. Kubik didn't put much force behind it. Malinowski just puts it up into the stomach of Kendall Murray, who just kind of got caught off guard. Didn't know if it hit the ground before, but she just kind of caught it. Nicklin Hames to serve now. Nebraska just 4 points away from a 3-set sweep. This one floats as a knuckleball. Scotty Johnson tips it back over. Nebraska, seen that one before. Jazz Sweet now hits it over hard. From the back row, Jess Merzick to Knuckles. What a play to keep it alive. Johnson now cross court to Kendall Murray, running to her right. Hames now to Lexi Sun with the right hand. Merzick keeps it up. Malinowski to Kendall Murray. Neither team will fall, and just as I say that, Kayla Caffey off the set from Nicklin Hames puts it down with the right hand. Caffey, the 2nd Cornhusker in double-digit kills. Both her and Lauren Stiverons at 10 apiece. Abby Malinowski's going to check out. Amber Beals checking back in for her. 10-point lead for Nebraska in set number 3. Nicklin Hames looks locked in back there at the service line. This one on the way. Beals doing a nice job to let it go, though. Beals checks in, showing everybody that she's locked in and ready. Nice read on that one to let it go. Harmlessly out of play, so point Michigan. Hannah Grant back to the service line now, looking to help her team battle back in this one. To Knuckles. Hames now to the near side. Jazz Sweet on this side for the first time we've seen her, and she puts it down. Nebraska now just 2 points away from the sweep. Lexi Sun is going to be the one to serve. Spins the ball in the left hand, now coming. Right to Amber Beals. Now to Hannah Grant. Kendall Murray coming with the right hand. Right to Knuckles. Hames now. Kubrick. Amber Beals keeps it alive. Kayla Bear blocked back at her. That one, Kayla Caffey and Maddie Kubrick waiting for it. Nebraska now just 1 point away from the 3-set sweep. Michigan going to need to do everything in their power to fight their way back into this one as they're down by 11. Match point for the Cornhuskers. That serve rolls off the front of the net. Can they keep it alive? And that's going to do it for this one. The serve barely rolls over. Kayla Bear can't get there in time. And that's going to do it. The Cornhuskers with a 3-set sweep. First one was pretty close, 25-19. Next one not as much, 25-15 in that final one, the worst of them all. 12-point victory, 25-13. Nebraska closed that one on a 3-0 scoring run. They were just out in front and completely in control through that entire match. really the main players for the Nebraska team. Lauren Stiveron's 10 kills, 7 blocks. Kayla Caffey, 10 kills, 4 blocks. Jazz Sweet, 9 kills and 4 blocks as well. Another player, Maddie Kubik, 4 blocks and 6 kills of her own. Nebraska couldn't be stopped on either end, offensive or defensive. Michigan struggled a little bit as a team, only had 5 total blocks, had no answer for the Nebraska offense. Nebraska takes both games of this weekend, 2-game series. Michigan only wins 1 total set out of 7 total played. But that is going to do it for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan volleyball here. It's been a great season, and of course, this is our last game of the season, as we mentioned, as the Wolverines will head to Madison, Wisconsin to play the Badgers in their final 2 regular season games. As we said, we would like to thank you for tuning in to WCBN Sports coverage all season long. It's been great having you. We're going to leave you like we always do with a good night and a Go Blue.